salutes its favorite son, Rocky Balboa.
Coming to you from a basement studio somewhere down under, it's the 80s Show with Australia's Retro Man. On tonight's show, Retro Man brings you Backstage Pass and the 3 big 80s movies that Sylvester Stallone knocked back. Well, what are we waiting for? Lights, camera, Retro Man.
G'day viewers, Retro Man here and welcome to the 80s Show. Now today we have another episode of Backstage Pass where I shed some insight into the movie industry of the 1980s. Today's subject is Hollywood tough guy Sylvester Stallone. Now Sly began his career in the 1970s where he wrote and starred in a little film called Rocky about an underdog boxer. I'm sure you all know Rocky. And then after that he played the tortured Vietnam vet Johnny Rambo in First Blood and followed up that with a slew of high-octane sequels. And more recently, Sly played Barney Ross, the leader of the mercenaries in the explosive Expendables series. Now, back in the 1980s, Sly was inundated with film roles. In fact, so many roles came his way that he had to pass a few off to other actors. Now, today I'll be talking about the 3 big roles that Sylvester Stallone knocked back in the 1980s. Now, the first one I'll be discussing is this one right here. Yes, Sly almost starred in Romancing the Stone, the adventure movie that gave Michael Douglas a leg up in his career and launched Kathleen Turner, who was stunning in this. Romancing the Stone was the blockbuster adventure film that came shortly after Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it was Sly that almost snagged the role of Jack Colton. As I said, he was appearing in so many films during that time that he had to say no to Romancing the Stone, and what a shame, because when you think about it, Sly never really did a bona fide adventure film like this. It would have been nice to see him take on such a role. But Michael Douglas anyway did a great job as Jack Colton. And another role that Sly passed on, this is the second one, and this is Witness. That's right, this classic cop film with Harrison Ford and Kelly McGillis. I really enjoy this film. It was a breakout hit in 1985. It was also the only film where Harrison Ford was nominated for an Oscar. Yeah, so who knows? That could have been Sly if he dug in deep, took on the role of Witness. Actually, around this time, I think Sly was doing Rambo First Blood Part 2, and shortly after that, he got involved in Rocky 4. So he kind of, knocked back Witness, but hey, great movie for Harrison Ford. And also there was Beverly Hills Cop. This is the third one. A great role for Eddie Murphy. In fact, this was the film where Eddie Murphy exploded around the world and became a huge star. And this was originally perceived as a more gritty action flick, cop film, and when Eddie came on board, it sort of changed its tone and became more of an action comedy. And Sly actually, when he knocked back this one, decided to do a cop film of his own later on, and that turned out to be Cobra, this film right here, that he did with George P. Cosmatos, which was the director behind Rambo First Blood Part 2. So there we have a trilogy of films that Sylvester Stallone knocked back in the 1980s, Romancing the Stone, Witness, and Beverly Hills Cop. So while we're on the topic of Sylvester Stallone, let's say it doesn't end here. I will be back with another episode called The Best of Stallone. So stay tuned for that one. That's all I'll say. The title is The Best of Stallone. So look out for it. It's coming soon to this channel. And that concludes today's episode of Backstage Pass. So tell us what you think of those films, Romancing the Stone, Witness and Beverly Hills Cop. I'm sure you've seen them. They were three of the big films of the 1980s. Sly sadly missed out on those. In the end, I think he ended up doing Ryan Stone with Dolly Parton instead of one of these, probably Romancing the Stone. But yeah, Sly certainly had a number of hits in the 80s regardless. So pop some comments in the box below and tell me what you think were the ones that Sly possibly should have done. Should he have played Jack Colton, Axel Foley, or this guy here in Witness, the cop John Book? So there we have it. Sly Stallone, 3 missed opportunities there. Thanks for watching the show today, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. This is Retro Man, living the dream 80s style. Stay gold.
Thanks for watching. Retro Man will return faster than a boomerang and tougher than Sly Stallone in Rambo. Now that's tough. Please subscribe and good night, viewers.